What if I told you one of the most luxurious car brands in the world didn't begin with luxury at all? Before the famous Spirit of Ecstasy, before the whisper-quiet engines, and before the name Rolls-Royce became a global symbol of prestige, it all started with two very different men. One was a brilliant engineer who loved building machines. The other was a businessman who knew exactly how to sell them. And when these two crossed paths in 1904, they didn't just start a company, they changed the future of automobiles forever. But here's the surprising part. Rolls-Royce almost never happened. There were financial risks, personal struggles, engineering challenges, and decisions that could have ended the story before it even began. And the biggest turning point came from a single meeting in a hotel. This is how Rolls-Royce began. Let's go back to England in the late 1800s. At that time, cars were still a strange new invention. Most people relied on horses, trains, or bicycles. Motor cars were noisy, unreliable, and honestly, many people didn't trust them. But one young man was fascinated by engineering. His name was Henry Royce. Unlike many famous founders, Royce didn't come from wealth. In fact, his childhood was difficult. His father died when he was young, and Henry had to leave school early to help support his family. He worked hard, learned engineering through experience, and became obsessed with precision and quality. That obsession would later define Rolls-Royce. By the 1880s, Royce had started a small electrical and mechanical business called F.H. Royce and Company. At first, they made things like electric cranes and dynamos, and business was good until competition got tougher. Royce faced one of the first major problems of his career. His company needed something bigger to survive. That something bigger turned out to be cars. At the same time, in another part of England, there was Charles Rolls. And unlike Royce, Rolls came from privilege. He was wealthy, well-educated, and completely obsessed with speed and automobiles. He studied engineering at Cambridge and became one of Britain's first car dealers. He loved machines, but he also understood customers. Rolls knew the future belonged to motor cars. There was just one problem. Most cars available at the time were unreliable and poorly made. He wanted something better, much better. Meanwhile, Henry Royce had bought a small French car called a Decoville, and honestly, he hated it. It broke too often. It lacked quality. It simply wasn't good enough. So Royce made a bold decision. Instead of complaining about bad cars, he decided to build a better one himself. That decision changed everything. In 1904, Royce created his first car, the Royce 10. It was simple, elegant, and incredibly smooth compared to competitors. People noticed, and one person who really noticed was Henry Edmonds, a mutual friend who believed Royce and Rolls needed to meet. That meeting happened on May 4th, 1904, at the Midland Hotel in Manchester. And this is the moment where history changed. Charles Rolls saw Royce's car and was deeply impressed. It was exactly what he had been looking for. Quiet, reliable, beautifully engineered. Rolls reportedly said something close to this: "I have met the greatest engineer in the world." That same day, they made a decision. Royce would build the cars, Rolls would sell them, and all cars would carry one name: Rolls-Royce. Simple, powerful, timeless. But starting the company wasn't easy. This wasn't instant success, far from it. Luxury cars were expensive to produce. Engineering perfection took time, and the market for high-end automobiles was still uncertain. They had to make a critical choice. Should they build cheaper cars for quick profits or stay committed to unmatched quality? They chose quality, and that decision became the soul of Rolls-Royce. Royce believed, the quality remains long after the price is forgotten. That philosophy shaped everything. Instead of rushing production, they focused on perfection. Every detail mattered, every sound, every vibration, every mechanical movement. Nothing was allowed to feel cheap. Then came the car that changed everything, the Silver Ghost. Introduced in 1906, it became the company's breakthrough masterpiece. This wasn't just another luxury car. It was so smooth, so quiet, and so reliable that people called it the best car in the world. And that wasn't just marketing. To prove its reliability, Rolls-Royce put the Silver Ghost through an extraordinary endurance test, driving over 14,000 miles. At a time when many cars struggled to finish short trips, this was unbelievable. The result? Massive public attention. Trust exploded, and Rolls-Royce became the gold standard of automotive excellence. But success came with tragedy. In 1910, Charles Rolls died in a plane crash. He became the first Briton to die in an aircraft accident. It was a devastating moment. He was only 32 years old. For the company, it was a huge loss. Rolls was the visionary salesman, the public face, the risk-taker. Without him, many wondered if Rolls-Royce could survive. But Henry Royce pushed forward, quietly, relentlessly. He continued refining the engineering standards that made the brand legendary. And then another major turning point arrived. The company faced a massive decision: stay focused on luxury cars or enter aircraft engine production. They chose aviation, and once again, that decision changed history. Rolls-Royce began producing aircraft engines, including the famous Eagle engine. This move didn't just save the business during wartime, it transformed Rolls-Royce into something much bigger than a car company. It became an engineering empire. And that expansion would shape the next century. From a poor engineer with impossible standards and a wealthy car dealer with impossible ambition came one of the most respected names in history, not because they chased trends, but because they refused to compromise. Rolls-Royce wasn't built on luxury. It was built on trust, precision, and one powerful belief: that excellence should never be negotiable. And maybe that's why, even today, when people hear the name Rolls-Royce, they don't just think of a car, they think of perfection. All because of one hotel meeting, one bold partnership, and one decision to build something better. And honestly, that might be the real luxury. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe, because some of the greatest companies in the world started with moments just like this. Small decisions that changed everything.